Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the installment of Scott's Selections here for Wednesday, September 23rd. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up a loss with the Lakers first half minus 3.5, which was available on FanDuel at minus 110. Lakers had been dominating the first half in their last couple of playoff series, and unfortunately, that was not the case yesterday, as Denver ended up coming out like a team down 2-0 in a must-win situation. They blew them out in the first half, and the game got dicey in the fourth, but the Nuggets ended up holding on to win Game 3 to force series back into Game 4 with a 2-1 lead for the Lakers. Now, it is what it is. Lakers were awful in the first half. Anthony Davis had, I think, 2 rebounds the entire game. Team completely lost. I think they'll probably use more of a zone in the future, as that completely just shut down the Nuggets in the first half of the fourth quarter. But either way, picked up a loss there. Now, for the NBA game tomorrow, on Wednesday, I should say, you have the Celtics Heat game, but they have not played in a while. They had an extended layoff, and I don't want to touch the game because I'm not sure what to expect, especially now that Gordon Hayward's back in the lineup for the Celtics. So I kind of want to see how that plays out. So for the play of the day, we're going to be doing what we did last week. We're going to be looking at a look-ahead parlay for the upcoming NFL week, and we're going to be going with 2 games once again on a money line parlay. We ended up cashing ours last week, and we're going to be looking for another winner here on Wednesday. The reason why I'm giving it out now is because the line has already started to move, which means that the money line prices have already jumped. And for that reason, I'm going to jump on it now before it is too late and before some of the value is gone. So the first play in the 2-pick parlay is going to be between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to be going with the Eagles at home on the money line, and that's available on Fox Bet at minus 225. A couple reasons why I like the Eagles in this spot. First of all, even though they are 0-2, you have to keep in mind of who they've played. Washington, of course, caught them off guard in week 1, and I acknowledge that. But week 2, they played the Rams. They ended up closing as a favorite, but it's possible that the Rams are just a really good football team, and people have been underrating them and McVay after an underwhelming season last year. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, everyone knew was awful last year, worst record in the league, number 1 overall pick. They got Joe Burrow, who has looked really good in the process, but it doesn't change the fact that their offensive line is probably the worst offensive line in all of football, and the fact that their defensive line got manhandled by the Browns last week, giving up 35 points in the process, along with a ton of rushing yards. So if you really want to break down Cincinnati, I just think that they're going to have some serious issues up front. There is a chance that Geno Atkins is going to play, but when you give up 215 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on 6.1 yards per carry, and the Eagles started to run the ball more with Miles Sanders in week 2, I simply think that the Eagles' offensive front should be too much to handle for Cincinnati. I know it's a bit banged up, but Lane Johnson did come back. He ended up leaving game 2 without any injuries whatsoever, which is a good sign because he is a phenomenal tackle. And I simply think that the Bengals will be just overwhelmed up front as Wentz and everybody will get back on track here at home. The Eagles historically have played a lot better in recent years at Lincoln Financial Field in comparison to on the road. And I simply think that Cincinnati, after giving up 35 points to the Browns, yes, they do have a couple extra days of preparation because they did play on Thursday. I don't think it's really going to matter. This offensive line is completely just broken. Mixon can't get any room to run on the ground. A.J. Green, I don't know what's up with him in terms of his connection with Joe Burrow, but it seems like Green has lost a step or two. Still definitely a solid receiver, gets targeted a lot, but he didn't really come down with many receptions, which I know all about because he was on my fantasy team. But either or, the issue that I have with Cincinnati is just based on the trenches, and I simply think that the Eagles should be able to get after Burrow, and they should also be able to run the ball down Cincinnati's throat en route to a win. Even though the Eagles are 0-2, they should still be a little bit optimistic because they are only 1 game behind in the NFC East as a true testament to how bad that division is. So the Eagles are still technically in the hunt, even though they are 0-2, and I expect them to come out with a lot of energy at home, and I think they should be able to take care of business. So the first play in the 2-pick parlay is going to be the Eagles in the money line at minus 225, and the second play is going to be on the Patriots on the money line at minus 250. Both these lines are available at FoxBet, by the way. So the Patriots at minus 250 on the money line against the Raiders. Now, I know that the Raiders ended up looking very impressive against the Saints in the Monday Night Football game. However, there are a couple factors to keep in mind. First of all, the Raiders were playing in their stadium opener in Vegas. They tend to play better. They tend to play better at home than they do on the road. People can go a long way back and talk about the Raiders and how they have been awful on any trip East Coast that they've had since probably the last decade. They are terrible in the East Coast whenever they're traveling. And now that they travel to New England, who should be very motivated to get back on track after a heartbreaking loss to Seattle in the Sunday Night Football game, in which they could have won, but Newton ended up getting stuffed on the goal line on the final play of the game. But New England hung in there with Seattle, and Seattle has one of the best offenses in the league, so I'm not going to immediately roast the New England defense. It was underwhelming, but Wilson looks like he's on another planet right now, so I'm going to give him a pass for that. Meanwhile, Las Vegas' defense looked better. It's also a question of Breeze and how he looks like he's either washed or just extremely well past his prime at this point. But Cam Newton in New England should just be able to run it down Las Vegas' throats. Even though Las Vegas did play better defense in the second half, I still thought the defense was very underwhelming early on. I'm still not a big fan of the secondary at all. The pass rush is a joke. Farrell has not worked out. Max Crosby hasn't looked too good either. They're not going to generate any pressure, in my opinion. I think the New England will be able to use their power rushing attack with Cam Newton, as well as his arm, as he ended up throwing for 300-plus passing yards against Seattle. And I think New England should be able to win this game. It should be close. 6.5 is a bit of a high total. I mean, a high spread, but it has gone from 5.5 to 6.5 and even 7 in some spots. So for that reason, I want to give it out now on the money line before it climbs any higher. But the Raiders will also be on a shortened week as they ended up playing on Monday night. So now they're on a shortened week, traveling to the East Coast to play New England in Foxborough. Not exactly a great spot for me. So I think that New England should be able to win that game. So once again, the two-pick parlay, I forgot to mention the overall price for the two-pick. On Fox Bet, it pays out a plus 102 at time of recording of Wednesday, September 23rd at 2:34 a.m. Eastern Time. So the two-pick parlay for NFL Week 3 is going to be on the Eagles' money line and the Patriots' money line. And once again, that's available at plus 102 on Fox Bet. That's an installment of Scott Selections. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.